Hey everybody, how are ya? It's time. GKR Leagues, let's go. Two top squads, Calalas and Mkers, coming together in what's going to be an absolute banger. Some of your favorite stuff. The set number 1 3v3 BO1s with Lucas going up against Mateja, Doom against Adriel, and then if necessary, Vitor and Enis. Then set number 2, King of the Hill, Mo, Adriel, and Vitor out for Calalas, AdrianPiedra, Ardentoas, and Surgical Goblin for Mkers. And then if we get there, set number 3, the 1v1 duels, Mohamed Light versus Ardentoas. What a day it should be here. And I'm here with you for all of it. Hey everybody, I'm Rich Slayton. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Really excited for this season of GKR, our fall split to kick off. And Mohamed Hani saying, hey, why do I feel like they played that yesterday? Because this is actually a makeup stream to make sure that you guys get this. This did get played yesterday. I was unable to stream yesterday because of Yom Kippur, so I'm streaming this event today to make sure that you have the chance to see everything happen here for this competition. And then today's stream is going to be delayed to be pushed either to tomorrow or to Thursday. I think to Thursday. So these are going to be happening this week. In the past, most of this season will be streamed live the day of. Some days I'll be doing makeup streams to catch up to the action due to my schedule, but I really wanted to make sure that you got the entirety of GKR Fall Split this time. So here we are with that entirety, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. Of course, this format is really, really cool. I really love the 3v3 BO1 portion of it. The King of the Hill is King of the Hill. That's great. But they also give us a little something different that I think is really fun, and that's having some bans in the mix. You're allowed to ban... I think they put the things in the wrong place, but you're allowed to ban one actual troop, one building, one spell, and one evolution. Looks like they've assigned them to the wrong spaces here in this graphic, but that's okay. Lava being bound by Calalas, Minor by Mkers. No barbs and no Evo barbs and no Evo recruits allowed here. No spell or building ban by Calalas, but the pump and the NATO out, and no surprises there. Look at the tools that Mkers has looked to take away from Calalas. Minor being, of course, the favorite win condition of a lot of the players on that team, including Mohamed Light, but then also taking out the NATO and the pump to take things like Golem out of the hands of Mo, who's been very good with that deck in this meta. So this is this is the real purpose when you talk about why do you have bans. It's not just to get rid of cards that are annoying in the meta right now. You have bans in order to take away tools from your opponent, in order to maybe pigeonhole them and get a better matchup so that you have a better idea of what they're actually going to play, right? To actually kind of tone it down to a specific spot so that you can go for a better matchup. Let's take a look at the overall view of this match again. So there you have the correct placements being done. Lava Hound, Barbs, the Evo ban for Calalas, and they're the proper bans in their proper position for Mkers. And again, it'll be Lucas versus Mateja, Adriel versus Doom, and then Vitor versus Enis in the 3v3 BO1 portion. But I really like what Mkers is doing here, using bans to try to limit the deck pool of their opponents and do a better job of trying to snipe some of those matchups. That's the way you're supposed to do bans, and that's the smart thing to do with these things. And I do like Yacht or Jot saying here, my favorite build in the Tornado. I agree. It is one of the best buildings out there. If you're ranking buildings, Tornado definitely way up there on my list of favorite buildings. So I'm totally with you, and I'm excited to see what they do with that building out here. So we should be kicking off our first match here very soon. Yep, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Game number 1 from our 3v3 BO1s. Let's go. Definitely not going to be seeing Lava, obviously. Probably won't see much Golem. And so, yes, Drill is going to be, I think, a little bit more likely here. NATO being out, of course, is going to give a few different decks a nice little buff. Obviously, Hog Rider, of course. Miner's not in this game, so not going to be a concern on either side. But this is also going to do a little buffing to the Evolved Royal Giant, which might be what we're seeing here out of Mateja. And yes, I can see that the sides of the board are not matched up with the sides of the player, with the graphics. And big shout out to the GKR team, though. Even though the graphics might not be all being executed with perfection right now, the upgrade they do each one of the splits this year to make the graphics a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more informative, has been really great. So I really do appreciate the work they've been doing. As you can see on the left-hand side, we have a clear vision of how this set is going to go, just kind of upgrading how they present scores and things like that. Very nice work. And yes, Calalas did not ban any spells or buildings, to answer Harvey's question. You can, bans are optional. You can choose not to exercise a ban if you wish. Curious to see how Lucas plans to defend the Royal Giants. Does he have a second building to back up the drill here? No NATO. He does have Log, and having bats is nice. Although that Electro Spirit could end up being a problem. Here goes the first Royal Giant before the Evolved form. And now we find out a lot of Lucas's defensive plan here. But those bats just get absolutely ruined. Electro Spirit doing its job. Bomb Tower in. And now the Evo is cycled back behind Princess for Mateja, and that's going to be a nice little pickup of the drill as well. Big push here. Lucas needs to do a little bit more work to cycle back to a bomb tower. And here we go. Bats are going to get hit, and the prediction log does not get that Electro Spirit. Electro Spirit went to the outside here. Fireball trying to clear. This Evo RG is not going to get anything, though. Very nicely done by Lucas. And a good lead by Lucas here early. I wonder if he does start putting some drills behind the Royal Giant, and yes, exactly. To turn, oh no, he goes in front. Very interesting. He goes to try to keep the Royal Giant off his side of the board here. I thought he might try to turn the Royal Giant and get some DPS done on the opposite side of the board while letting the Royal Giant pop the drill to get damage. Instead, he just wants to fight the bridge fight, which is smart. He's already way up on elixir, or way up on damage. He doesn't need to kill that tower. And Mateja gonna go the 2-lane push. And is he just purely trying to go opposite lane here, or is he really trying to get the, gonna go left and then right? Let's see. Really doubling down on the right-hand side here. He probably isn't gonna go back to the left again, but he doesn't really want to fight those counter pushes anymore, but here he goes. Monk doesn't get the ability. Evo Knight will get pulled. But really, it's about this next Royal Giant for Mateja, because he has not been able to get on tower at all. Great fireball for Lucas, and that might be it. I think that's pretty much it. It's going to need to be a pretty insane push out of Mateja to make anything happen here. RG in, lets the bomb tower tick a little bit. Monk doesn't get any bomb tower reflection, which is really rough for Mateja. Ice Spirit will freeze. Drill on defense. GG, well played. Lucas played that brilliantly. And what we're looking at here, too, folks, is switch back in minor, obviously, but we're looking at what's going to be probably the most popular deck of one of the most popular decks of our next season, assuming that these Magic Archer nerfs actually do happen. So very well played. Game number 1 in the books. Lucas taking out Mateja, and of course I'll update the scores over here once we have our sets all finished and ready to go. Waiting on our next game here. Let's go ahead and... What is happening? I'm just scrolling through stuff here for a moment. I think that someone from Mkers must not have shown up, because I'm looking at, yeah, looks like someone from Mkers ended up not making it. So that's going to be a free win in set number 1. And we are moving on to set number 2. So nice and quick here, folks. If you wanted a nice, quick first round, as I said, it looks like someone did not show up. So here we go into set number 2. The King of the Hill with a 1-set advantage. Why is that number advantage to... You know what? Let me double check something, because I'm a little bit confused. But we are still, of course, in the dual mode, or in the King of the Hill set. But my assumption here is that someone didn't show up, and there was a free win granted in our opening set. Drill to prevent the Fish Boy from pulling the Evo Knight was smart. Nice. Yeah, asking, do I know what the STMN means in his name? It's an esports team. I think they're Brazilian, that team. And Arden playing minor, which is banned. So I'm now very confused. Did this skip all the way to the... Did they just skip all the way through 2 sets and go to the final set? Well, we'll find out here in a moment, folks. Maybe Arden's letting it go because he knows he played a banned card. 2 banned cards? Unless we are skipped all the way to dual mode. And looks like Arden doesn't go. I think Arden, yeah. Arden played banned cards, so there you go. Big mistake by Ardentoas in the opening game at King of the Hill. Oof. Well, Mohamed Light takes down 1 because Ardentoas played banned cards. Unfortunate for Arden to start off that way, but a nice, easy start here for the current leaders in Shot Calalas. So here we go. Let's jump into our next game. AdrianPiedra out for Mkers. El Mas Chingon. I don't know if I said something inappropriate there because I don't speak Spanish, but this guy saying, how is Mo so good? I shouldn't read things in other languages, just out of safety. Hard work pays off, folks. Mixed talent with hard work. Ooh, boy. So different hog looks. I don't know if Mo is playing this one with a champion or not. He might be playing the Mighty Miner version. Nope, going with Monk as well. And that reflection does get the King Tower activation. I think Mohamed thought maybe he would avoid it. The Ice Spirit does get onto the Hog, and good damage from Adrian early on. Bruno, Too Lazy, saying, why are some cards banned? In some game modes that are not dual mode, Bruno, it's good. Ban cards are used to create some deck variability. Otherwise, you just end up seeing the same cards in the same decks kind of over and over and over again. So this is a lot of bans. This is more than typical. What was very common back in old CRL was that each team would ban one card. But GKR decided to go with a more robust set of bans, especially with how many more cards there are now than there were in the older days of CRL. So ban cards create limitations that players have to strategize against. You might ban cards to just take something that's annoying out of it. You might ban cards that counter the deck pool that you want to run. You might ban cards to take away tools that are very popular, that are one-trick tools for your opponents. You might ban cards also to help limit the meta and make it easier to find a good matchup. Naseed saying, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Just casting some Clash Royale. This is a makeup stream from yesterday's kickoff of GKR Fall Split, and then on Thursday I'll be making up today's stream. And we will have then we'll be kind of caught up and ready to go with the rest of the season. So far, Adrian doing very, very well in this matchup. And thank you, Mohamed. I do appreciate that you're here. $11.21 to $12.90. Mohamed Light doing a good job battling back here. This is where we really see what Adrian's got. Had a big lead. Does he give it up? Hayden Lee asking how many matches today? 2 matches today, Hayden. And Mohamed Light has taken the lead back here. Good last little reflection from the Monk for Adrian, but the late Tesla is going to be a huge problem, and that should be a GG well played. And now Modus has to do a little bit of defense, put an EQ, put another spell. And Mohamed not even worrying about the bomb tower there. GG well played. 2 up, 2 down for the Pharaoh. So there you go. Mohamed Light first up today in King of the Hill. Arden played 2 banned cards. Arden went down. AdrianPiedra now out. Now all that's left is Surgical Goblin. So we'll see if Surgical Goblin can pick things up for his team. That would be a nice big win here. He is so good, man, says Smoke. Yeah, I'm with you. Let's go ahead and jump into match point for Shot Calalas. Doesn't Surgical Goblin look like an AI-generated picture of Surge? Is that just me? Or does that look like an AI image of Surgical Goblin? I would say that there's a strong 60% chance that that's an AI-generated image of Surgical Goblin. It just has that look to it. AI Goblin. And how are you, Morrow? How are you, Crazy Edits? Good to have both of you here. Smurfblade saying Mo playing first in Koth is interesting. Usually is a great anchor, but I guess he can just end it fast. Yeah, true. You know, lots of different ways to do it. I was talking about this with Royale Masters this weekend. If you guys don't know, the Royale Masters dual mode format is one where instead of any deck that you play, you now cannot play that for the rest of the rest of the match. You only lose decks that you win with. So in a dual mode, if you play RG and your opponent plays Minor Wall Breakers and you win, you can't play RG for the next 1 to 2 games, but your opponent can play Minor Wall Breakers, can play that deck still. It's a really interesting thing, and for just a simple best of 3, I don't like it as much as regular duels, but in best of 5, it's really great, because by game 5, you end up having the same number of decks out of play for each player, and it would be really interesting for King of the Hill. For 3v3 King of the Hill with that Royale Masters style duel format, it would make the order of player much more important, right? You would need someone who, if they have to get called in to play at the end, especially game 5, who's more versatile than the person playing in game number 1. In terms of their deck pool, although alternatively you might want the person in game number 1 to be the one who is best playing with a handicap. So I'm curious about how that master style duel format would do with King of the Hill. I might run a small event like that on my channel just to see what it's like. And Bruno Too Lazy asking who bans these cards. Each team chooses, and I don't know whether it's the managers or the players or the coach, however they want to do it, each team chooses to ban whatever cards they're going to ban before the match. They submit them before the match starts, not knowing the other team's ban choices. And there you go. And you make it based off of a wide variety of factors, like Smurfblade is saying in the chat right now. Well, this drill deck that is pretty much a carbon copy of the very popular miner deck of similar construction so far has been great for Shot Calalas. Is Mkers Surgical the same as Surgical Goblin? Yes. Jae-Sung Han saying, didn't Mo and Surge play the exact same deck yesterday? This is a makeup stream from yesterday, folks. Because I wasn't able to stream yesterday due to Yom Kippur, so I am streaming yesterday's matches, the kickoff for GKR today, to make sure that everyone has a chance to see the streams and that they're all available here. And then on Thursday, I will be makeup streaming today's GKR matches. Part of why we're going through the stream so fast, because I'm not having to wait for all the stuff going on. Well, this is the second time we're seeing this drill deck absolutely destroy this Royal Giant deck. Morrow, to answer Morrow's question, Shot Calalas chose not to exercise their spell and building bans, which a team's allowed to do. They don't have to ban. Mohamed, why can't you do the other 2 matches today? Maybe I will. I mean, that's worth it. I want to break it into a different stream so that they're easily searchable. Just for the way that I set everything up. And that's a nice, clean 1, 2, 3 easy dubs here for Shot Calalas. And no question here, your MVP, Mohamed Light. Easy dubs. Of course, one of those was very easy because his opponent played a banned card. So nicely played. All right, we don't need to see this. We don't need to see that ridiculous graphic anymore. Let me go ahead and edit our score here. Oh, I need to do a little better job with that. There we go. Boom. 2-0. Pretty easy win there. Coming up next. Let me get to a good spot here. Boom. No delays. We can just get right into our next match here. Olimpo squad versus Rising Sun Esports. And yes, very clean game by Mo indeed. When is World Finals? For CRL or for GKR? Which one? This was already streamed, yes, but not in English. I'm doing a makeup stream for English. Adrian came really close, but he threw a fireball that got reflected. Yep, that'll do it. That will do it, folks. And we'll get our rosters here for our next GKR matchup. Olimpo squad versus Rising Sun Esports. We'll have our lineups ready to go in just a moment. And here they are. So for Olimpo squad in the 3v3 BO1, they are sending out Victor, Luminary, and CAPGUN. It will be Victor versus Airsurfer in game number 1, Luminary versus Guriko in game number 2, and CAPGUN versus Pandora in game number 3. 2 multiple-time world finalists in Airsurfer and Pandora. Airsurfer going to be making his 4th appearance at CRL World Finals this year. Pandora making his 3rd appearance. Set number 2 will be CAPGUN, Luminary, and Wallace in King of the Hill up against Pandora, Ta, and Airsurfer. And then finally, if we get to it, it will be the dual mode matchup between Wallace and Ta. That one will be a whole lot of fun to watch if we get there. We got to start off with those 3v3 BO1s. Let's see if we can see what the... Let's go ahead and take a look at the bans from both of these teams. So Olimpo squad only banning an evolution. Taking out the Royal Recruits. But Goblin Giant? And that's fascinating. What an interesting choice of the spell ban here from Rising Sun Esports. Because, yes, Goblin Barrel is technically a spell, but you always think of it more as a troop. So, really taking out some really fascinating parts. Pigo asking, Rich, do you know what the results are? Are you watching the games for the first time? I'm watching this for the first time. I intentionally avoided results so I could give you guys a real casting experience with this. And it's more fun for me not knowing the results. And back to the discussion at hand, though. So look at how much coverage Rising Sun has gotten with their bans. Right, so taking out Goblin Giant takes out both Goblin Giant Sparky and takes out that annoying Goblin Giant beatdown deck. Taking out the Goblin Barrel takes out Log Bait, which isn't really good in competition, as the points being made by Smurf Blade, but still interesting. It covers Double Bait, it covers Log Bait, it covers a lot of different options. Taking out the Pump hampers Golem, takes out 3M, right? So cover a lot of bases here, and then Evo Barbs, taking those out of the board. It takes out it doesn't take out Graveyard, but it takes out a lot of the more popular Graveyard variations, a lot of the more popular Lava Hound variations. That's a really great set of bans. Let's go ahead and jump into our first game. Airsurfer versus Victor, and we're a little bit late into it. Airsurfer already getting some good connections with the balloon. Mohamed asking, are there any live tournaments this week? Yes, there are. I'm casting 2 live tournaments this week. On Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm going to be casting the Royale Masters King of the Hill, which I believe the qualifiers for that are today. And then on Saturday, I'm casting the grand final for the Samsung event. What's that event called? It's on the tip of my tongue here. The grand final for... Hold on. Let me just get the date. The Samsung, the Galaxy Superverse, Galaxy Battles Superverse Grand Finals. That's what it is. So I'll be casting those on Saturday. Oh, and it looks like the Royale Masters qualifiers for King of the Hill started about 30 minutes ago. So if you want to try to still make your way to the top 8 to get into the bracket, you can try. It's 2 hours long, so you probably have enough time if people do get their get to, I think, because I think it has max 5 losses. I could be wrong. But if you are looking to get into that Royale Masters King of the Hill, you should go ahead and join them on their Discord. Here's the Discord link. There you go. So Airsurfer will get the right-hand tower down. Just the question, does he need any little extra? Nope, the pups pop. And now he's got Lava Hound, Inferno Dragon, and Evo Knight, Loon behind it. And Victor was doing his best to hold on as the arrows clear, and the Lava Hound's tanking everything. And that's going to be a big GG, a big well played. Airsurfer takes game number 1 in decisive fashion. Fashion. Well done. Toefungus, I love your casting. Thank you, Toefungus. I'd appreciate it if you would leave my toes alone. So there you have it. Our game number 1. Airsurfer beats Victor. Remember, this is the 3v3 BO1. So up next will be Guriko versus Luminary. If a Luminary can get the win here, then we will go to CAPGUN Pandora. Otherwise, we'll be done with our first set. So here we go. Let me get us. It is nice and breezy to do it this way. And here we go. Game number 2. And Guriko playing on cam. Look at that. Love that. Like getting the player view here. Magic Archer. Rip Magic Archer after all the voting. So far, so similar. Magic Archer will get a little bit of piercing damage. Did it touch once? I thought it touched once. xAlee saying posting the achievements of the players or country, etc. is a smart idea. Especially since not everyone knows the achievements. Yeah, fair. Good point. Let me just double check something here real quick, folks. All right, yes. One moment, I gotta handle something really quickly, everybody. I'll be right back with you in just one moment, as soon as I get this taken care of. I'll be right there with you. There's quite a lot to be dealt with, but the Loon won't get in. No, it does. Wow. I thought the Loon was not going to make it there. But it does. Sneaks right on past. Amelie saying, nice to catch you live again. So excited for World Finals November. Me too. And big Ram Rider touch. Fireball not able to stop it. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Had to take care of something really quickly. And Loon behind all of this. Is the Ram Rider able to slow it down? And the arrows, miscalculation there by Guriko. Arrows do not take off the Inferno Dragon. The Death Bomb, though, will give the lead to Guriko very, very slightly by 52 HP. And Luminary goes high this time with the Ram Rider. And Fireball will do its job. No NATO, because not part of this construction, and so no way to get that high Magic Archer on tower here. And look at that, even just a little short. It turned and got the lineup, but it was short. Ram Rider needs to keep that balloon slowed, or this is going to be a huge problem for Luminary. No, it doesn't. Death damage in, 29 seconds left, and the Bomber gets one throw. You have to stop this, can't do it. GG, well played. Guriko battles back. Very nicely done. Very well played by Guriko. So there you go. That's the end of set number 1. A clean 2-0 to open things up for Rising Sun Esports. King of the Hill coming up next. CAPGUN, Luminary, Wallace, the lineup for Olimpo squad. Pandora, Ta, Airsurfer, the lineup for Rising Sun. Let me go ahead and on this screen I'll update our score, which I think, which side's Rising Sun? Rising Sun's on that side. Great. I have to update on this screen. I do have to do the updates myself. I don't have a production team doing anything to help out. It's all me, baby. Let me go ahead and take us a little bit forward here. So again, CAPGUN, Luminary, Wallace as the King of the Hill anchor in this set. Pandora, Ta, Airsurfer. Next up. Rich, you need to do a vertical stream too. I can't see anything like this. If you're only watching on a mobile device, I'm very sorry that I'm just not doing a vertical. It's really complicated to be doing a vertical stream as well. I'm just not able to set up for some of these. On occasion, I'm doing both, but it's kind of still in an experimental stage of how to do it in a way that makes sense. Interesting deck here from CAPGUN. Oh, just Minor MK. I was like, what is this? Just Minor Prince MK with the Evo Firecracker. And a little RG. The most popular Royal Giant deck from the competitive side of things. A lot of players running. Is it this? This is for on. Does the popular version have Hunter in it? Let me take a look. I don't remember if the really popular version has Hunter in it or if it's one card difference. Either way, an overall very popular variation of Royal Giant. I think Mother Witch is probably the more popular card in this than the Hunter. And then Fireball for arrows, but still. Heavily leaned on this general format with the Skeleton King, the Fisherman, Zappies, Tombstone. How do the bans work in this? Great question, Hearts. Before the match, each team is allowed to submit bans. One troop, one spell, one building, one evolution. As you can see, they don't always have to. Olimpo squad opted not to exercise all their bans. The bans are blind, so you submit your bans not knowing your opponent's bans. And then over the course of the sets where bans are active, which is the first 2 sets, the 3v3 1v1 set and the King of the Hill set, any card that is banned may not be played by either team. But in duel mode, since duel mode already restricts your cards, there's no bans in duel mode. Navit saying, but watching mobile game on mobile makes sense. Sure. But, you know, we tend to build it all for watching on TV or PC. Hey, Rich, are you sure Royale Masters is on now? It's not streaming now. We're streaming tomorrow. The qualifiers, I believe, are happening right now. Let me double check that, but I believe it's the qualifiers. And GG, well played. Pandora makes short work of CAPGUN in this one. Huge downhill push. Little surprised to see the minor print or the Mega Knight Prince minor deck being played. But is what it is. It's not the most popular. And what a King of the Hill is this? Is that something different? So, okay. Royale Masters has made things kind of confusing. Royale Masters has a tournament that they also labeled King of the Hill, which has nothing to do with the traditional Clash Royale King of the Hill format. It's like, in their King of the Hill, once the 8 players make it to the finals, you cycle through all the players, and the winner stays on as long as they keep winning. It has nothing to do with the established King of the Hill format in competitive Clash Royale, where each team puts forward 3 players, and your goal is to knock out the other 3 players, the 3 players from the other team. There are 2 very different formats. I think it's kind of annoying that Royale Masters named theirs King of the Hill when there was already an established mode called King of the Hill in competitive, but they chose to do that, so it is what it is. They could have called it Last Man Standing. They could have called it something else. King of the Hill is a sensible thing to call it, honestly, because if you think about like doing King of the Hill in wrestling, for example, that's what it is. Calling our 3 King of the Hill is kind of misleading in some ways, or like not traditional. But it was established within the game, so it is what it is. Samander's saying, are golden ticket winners treated the same as qualifiers? So the golden ticket winners are seeded differently. The 7 golden ticket winners are the number 1 through 7 seeds of World Finals. The number 8 seed, if I remember correctly, is the first winner from CRL China. I think higher is the number 8 seed, if I remember correctly. Then the number 9 seed is Faust, who was the first person on the points bracket. Then the next China winner is the 10 seed, I think. Is that right? I think that's right. And then the remaining seeds are the other 6 players who were on the points leaderboard. Hey, Rich, will CRL finals this year have the same commentators as last year? In English? Yeah. I don't know about the other languages. Trying to be funny here. Lalu saying, what's the best? Which deck would win here? Ha 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 ha. Sluggish Crow asking why China has its own league while other countries play in the main league. Because of Chinese governmental regulation, which across all of gaming has separated its gaming ecosystems from the rest of the world. Who's my favorite wrestler? I didn't mean like pro wrestling for King of the Hill, but it's like more of like a wrestling practice game that you play. But I don't know, favorite pro wrestler. I was a fan of the Attitude Era. So here we go into the final 90 seconds, and we see Pandora with a slight lead here. In this mirror match at this point, Pandora just needs to do everything he can to stay ahead of the spell damage situation. So two keys here. Don't give a big XC NATO lineup and give up a ton of damage to the Executioner, and continue to be first on the poison cycle. Pandora does not want to fall behind on and there he goes, falling behind on the poison cycle. Luminary now has a huge opportunity to go ahead and win this. All it takes is one big mistake with your XE, and you, of course, change this game entirely. That Ice Spirit play is interesting, but I don't know if I like it out of Pandora. I don't think that gets him the damage he needs. He's trying to cycle for poisons like crazy. No one's going for XE damage right now. Ice Spirit blocks the Ice Spirit. But again, Luminary is ahead on poisons. Miner in and goes to the back. Miner plus poison, NATO to King Tower. I think Luminary, barring a big mistake, should have this. Try to catch one more Miner if you can. Good Miner to the inside. He goes for the Miner catch. NATO will pull it off, and that should be enough for the GG. Well played here. Luminary gets poisoned down. And Pandora, you saw it happen right as I was saying. Right as I was saying that one of the keys here is Pandora cannot fall behind on the poison cycle. And that exact moment, Pandora fell behind on the poison cycle. We just saw this happen the other day in what was I casting? In this, I think it was the Royal Masters this weekend. We saw the same thing happen. You cannot let that poison cycle, when you're in that kind of mirror matchup, you just can't get behind in those late moments. And Pandora let it happen. So tough situation for him. Very tough situation for him. And next up is going to be Ta for Rising Sun Esports. And so in this case, let's take a look at the board here. CAPGUN out, was knocked out by Pandora. Pandora was knocked out by Luminary, and now we are at Luminary versus Ta. Kitassyan, is that a good deck for ladder? I mean, it depends on your skill set, obviously. I mean, these bans do change some things, but even then, actually, with these bans, not that big of a deal. Just seems so defensive, not much offensive potential. It has plenty of offensive potential. You have Miner, you have Poison, you have Log, you have Executioner, including XE NATO. It has plenty of offensive potential. It's a control deck. It's limit the damage you get, and I mean, each matchup you play is different, right? Some matchups you need to get ahead early on with this one. Some matchups you just want to keep it close and then try to win with Miner Poison cycle end of game. Smurflade making the point, if you face lots of lava and E-Golem, it's good on ladder. True. Definitely has its matchups, but it's a control deck. You know, Smurflade says don't think it does well against Sparky, which is interesting. Is that because of the Goblin Giant primarily? Because I think that with the Ice Spirit, the Log, and the Evolved Knight that you'd be able to absorb enough shots, reset, and get damage on it, but maybe you just don't have enough to DPS down the Sparky in time. Other Miner decks have Miner, Marcher lineups, Wall Breakers, get you damage with surprise. I mean, Miner Poison Control was a key meta deck for many years of the game, and it kind of became less popular after a number of Miner nerfs. But Miner Poison Control was pretty key for a long time. Cheeky NATO play here, and again the mirror match. Might be wrong. I feel the easiest set to block off Miners. That's fair. That's fair. No one cares. Wow, I found a live in the ads. What? There's an ad with my live stream? Is that shouldn't be. I didn't make an ad. Rich looking handsome as always. That's like Sluggish Crow. Thank you very much. Who do you think's gonna be second place in World Finals? Mo first? I don't know. We'll have to play. It's a long tournament. And Mo's the #1 seed. He's up against number 16 seed, which is Airsurfer, who arguably, in my opinion, should not be the number 16 seed from a skill perspective. But keep in mind, you're talking about other decks having Marcher lineups. This has xAlee lineups, which one bit of xAlee NATO damage on a tower is way more devastating than a little magic archer damage. Not as easy to get that damage, obviously, but certainly devastating when it happens. And so again, look at we're again in this. It is a very similar situation. And you got to keep that, yeah. So you got to keep that xAlee off tower. That's huge. And now Ta is needing to pull away here. Luminary just not having the juice to keep up with the poison cycle now, and Luminary is falling way too far behind. He's going to need to have 1 or 2 really tremendous catches, maybe predict a miner off with a NATO and get it to tower, or get an xAlee NATO lineup. He might have to get aggressive. And see, look at this. He goes really aggressive. That's why they would have the bomb tower over high to the left. That was a little bit of a predictable aggressive play here. And now he doesn't have the NATO to support the xAlee, and he's going to be behind by 234 HP. I don't think he has a way. I don't think he has a way back here unless Ta opens the door for him. And look at that NATO to get the evolved Knight on tower. Ta just stepping all over Luminary right now. This is a bold choice. If you think you're gonna get into if you think there's a chance you're gonna be in a mirror matchup, you better be really confident when picking this deck, because this is not an easy deck to win the mirror matchup if you are not great with it. And just absolutely Ta put Luminary in so many difficult spots. Really nice work. Really nice work overall. Smurfblade pointed out that the last monthly final was insane. It was crazy for determining seeds and who to clutch remaining spots. Yeah. Last monthly final was really fun to cast and to prepare for, with all those different scenarios coming out. I had a blast with that one. Let's see. And no one's made a video on this deck as 130 tips or things to keep in mind when playing it. Yeah, with that deck, I mean, I think some things to keep in mind are, as we saw, you need to be creative with NATOs and not put yourself in spots to get caught by creative NATOs, right? We saw that really great play by Ta at the end to pull the troop tanking from the front to the back and switch it to the miner so it didn't block the Evo Knight, and the Evo Knight got on tower and blew the game open, right? You really have to make sure, again, it depends on talking with it or without it, but being creative with your NATO play and not just being basic with it is one big part of it. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game here. This is match point for Rising Sun Esports, by the way, folks. Wallace needs to get 2 in a row. And a good start there with a double wall breaker connection. Let me turn the music off here. Those xAlee NATO lineups can be absolutely game changers if you can get them, but don't try to overcommit for them, because that is an 8 elixir commitment when you make them. And make sure you actually understand how much your poison and your log do. Right? I think that's one of the big ones. A skill that has gone away recently in Clash Royale is people not really knowing their magic numbers. What I mean by magic number? Magic number is how many cycles of your spells you need to close out a game. Right now, honestly, with minor poison control, a lot of the times you're playing full 5 minutes and you're not killing a tower. But when you are killing a tower, you need to know how much your poison is going to do each time, and how much your log in this deck is going to do each time, and then how many cycles you need, right? So at level 14, which is current ladder max, or current ranked max, poison does 288. At tournament standard, poison does 216, right? So knowing that, and then also not just knowing how much your poison does, but let's talk about this in context of poison and log together, right? Because you're talking about your cycle here. So Log at level 14 does 76 damage, and at tournament standard level 11 does 58 damage, right? So now we'll talk about like a magic number. How close you need to be to really feel like you have the ability to kill a tower if you're going to actually push that and not go to the final few seconds, right? Well, 2 poisons plus a Log at tournament standard. Oh, wait, hold on. I had a little glitch there. Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure that didn't get worse. 2 poisons plus a Log at tournament standard does 490 damage. 2 poisons and 2 Logs does 548, right? So knowing those numbers of how many poisons, Logs do I need to have, do I need to cycle to win, knowing your magic numbers, and that's a huge... What is that? What is this glitching happening? My CPU looks fine, so that must be coming from the YouTube stream. Not entirely sure. Modsad saying, hey, Rich, is Eric still part of the TR Caster team? No, Eric is doing other stuff these days. Oh, that balloon is a problem. And he misses the pull! Wallace misses the pull! No way! Wallace misses the pull! I did not have that on my bingo card. Oh, my word. I did not think that was going to happen, folks. How did he miss the pull there? Ta, MVP, Great and King of the Hill. Comes out big. Gets it done. Really missing that pull was kind of a shocker. Not just kind of a shocker, that was a big shocker. A brutal one. Oh, well. Very, very tough. And there you go. The final results for day 1. 2-0 for Calalas, 2-0 for Rising Sun Esports. Smurfblade, now I'm curious about your bingo card. What's the biggest item on that? Someone plays Miner, right? Is Clown in this tournament? I think Clown's on one of the rosters. How different is the gameplay in the Chinese servers? Do you think it will give Higher and Not Afraid a slight disadvantage in World Finals because they aren't used to the gameplay? I think Higher will be just as competitive as he's always been. I don't anticipate Higher being his level being like distinctively low. Not Afraid, from my understanding, and I have to start doing my real deep research on him for Worlds, is kind of an Expo 1 trick, and the overall level in China across the board for a long time. I mean, if you go back to even 2018 when Nova won Worlds, but talk about like 2019, China had its own region in CRL, even when it was CRL East, right? CRL East had 2 divisions, the Asia division and the China division. And China's always been viewed as kind of top-heavy, right? You have a few players who've always been top in China, right? Little Chen, LCOP, Higher, Solo Man, AUK, right? Kind of a limited number of players who are really super top tier, and then the level below that drops off kind of substantially, from my understanding. So I'm curious. My suspicion here, if you were to ask me to bet right now, I would say that that Higher will probably win at least 1 match at World Finals. It depends. I have to look at the bracket and see where everything shakes out. But Higher is going to be competitive. Not Afraid. I'd be surprised if he got past. Like, he probably loses first round matchup. I remember who's he up against in the first round. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. CRL World Finals 2023. Clash Royale League 2023 World Finals. The bracket. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're good. Yeah, Not Afraid has Vitor in the first round, and if he wins that, he's up against Pandora or Wallace. So he doesn't have the most difficult part of the bracket, right? He's not facing Mo Light early on. He's not facing Mugi or Adriel early on. Not facing Pedro, Sam, or Morton early on. But Vitor, Wallace, and Pandora are all 3 world-class players. But I would definitely put them probably on the second half of the overall list. But still, my guess is that Not Afraid, if he does beat Vitor, doesn't win in the upper bracket quarterfinals. But again, I could be totally wrong. I could get proven I could get very heavily disproven on that one. So we'll see. Let's see. I don't see Clown or any other names in the description. Yeah, maybe Clowns. I didn't even look at the description. All the teams are listed in the description below, so you can go ahead and check that out. Who's the second qualifier besides Higher? Not Afraid. That's who I'm talking about. And Not Afraid, again, he has to beat Vitor. And if he does beat Vitor, he faces the winner of Pandora Wallace. And then if he somehow wins those two, upper bracket semifinals, he'd be facing Pedro, Ruben, Samuel Basoto, or Morton. So I think that's a tough task for him. I really think that Not Afraid is gonna be out, if not in the first lower bracket round, in the second lower bracket round. So we'll see. I want to see competitive 2v2 with elite cards. Oh, you mean with the Evo? Yeah, we just had that. As Smurfplay is pointing out, the Snapdragon Pro Series had a 2v2 tournament that allowed Evolve cards, and it was interesting. I really wish we'd had some bans available for that, but it was still pretty fun. Folks, that's it for this stream. Let me just do a quick straw poll here, because I do want to separate the streams for like just organizational purposes. But I can either do the makeup stream from this morning's competition right after this one, or I can do it Thursday. So, day 2 stream. Should I do it today or Thursday? And I'll go ahead and put a poll in right now. Go ahead and answer the poll. If enough people vote that we should do it today, I'll go ahead. That should have said day 2 stream. But go ahead and vote right now. If there's enough of a balance in terms of today, then I'll go ahead and do the makeup stream for day 2 now, since this went so fast. I don't know how many people are voting. That's the only problem, is I can't see. So I'll give this a minute and see how you guys come in. So far, it's very heavily favoring today. And if that's the case, then I will, let me go ahead and start making the day 2 stream right now. So that way I can get it ready. I don't know if it'll let me do that the way I want to. Let me see. Let me go to schedule a stream. Oh, I can't use the settings. Okay. Wait, what? That's it? That's it for this part of this competition. But whatchamacallit? Let me see if I can do this. Schedule a stream. I'll do this. Okay. Hold on. I am going to take a moment here, and I'm just going to go ahead and try to schedule. The matches from this specific, from this makeup stream are done, but I still have to make up this morning's stream, and this went so fast that I feel like I have enough time to do this morning's makeup stream right now. So I'm going to go ahead and let me see if I can just get this set up really quick. And then what I'll do is I'll get the other stream going, and you guys can all jump over to the other stream if you want to. So let me go ahead and do that. It looks like the votes are coming in for doing it today, which, hey, might as well keep the train going. I'm not gonna do it as a part of this stream because I want them separated for, like I said, for organizational reasons, and to give the players their own, like they have their own thumbnails and their own things and stuff like that. So yeah, let me go ahead and just get this all set up here, and let me go ahead and show you guys what the next stream is going to be. It's going to be Tropical Gaming versus ENOSIS Esports, and then Seam Esports versus French SWAT. So those are the two matchups. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna get the stream posted right now, and you guys can go ahead and jump into that one, and then I will switch over the streams. Versus this is going to be Seam Esports versus let's see, and versus French SWAT. Fall split, week 1, day 2. There we go. Blah, blah, blah. Everything looks good. Everything looks good there. Everything looks good there. Set this one for today. To go live here in just a minute. Done. All right, so that stream is going to be up here in just one moment. I'm going to switch to that stream in just a second, folks. Let me see if I can, as soon as it gets ready to go. Hold on, why can't I get the link for that stream ready? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end. Why does it have no title? No, why is it being so weird? And why can't I share that stream? Huh. All right. Well, folks, that stream should be live on my channel now, or should be ready for you to go over to my channel. It's not live yet. I know this is kind of funky that I'm switching like that, but here is the link to that stream that I'm going to switch to here in just one moment, so that we can go ahead and do that one. So go ahead, jump over to that one. The poll has spoken. 85% of you, which 85% of you, only 34 votes, said you wanted to go ahead and just do that one now. So we're going to go ahead and do it now. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream and switch over to our other live stream. So I will see you there in just one moment, folks. Thank you, thank you.